KOIN 6 News This Morning starts right now.
The worst of the rain is over, but there are still lingering problems around the area. Landslides still an issue, and more could come as we see even more downpours. There's also still ponding around our area roads, and we're tracking these issues happening all across the Portland metro area. We'll tell you what to watch out for. Good morning. I'm Trevor Ault, in again for Jenny Hansen.
Yeah, Jenny Hansen has been under the weather for the past few days, and hopefully she'll be back next week. Get better, Jenny.
Definitely.
I'm Ken Body. Let's start off the 5 o'clock hour with a first look at weather and traffic. Carly Cannelli watching the roads, but first, meteorologist Sally Showman has the forecast.
Okay, the steady rain is done with, but we have downpours out there this morning, and one of them in a very populated area slicing through downtown Portland, the West Hills there, right over the University of Portland, extending over the Interstate Bridge into Vancouver and Battleground. Behind it, we catch a break in Beaverton, and there's another round of showers moving over the Coast Range. Just spotty shower activity in the northeast corner of the state, out toward LeGrand and Pendleton this morning, and temperatures more mild east of the Cascades, or at least in the lower Columbia River Basin, than what we saw yesterday when temperatures were below freezing there. 41 in Pendleton. Bend has actually cooled to 39 degrees. It's 47 in Portland, so all of us along the I-5 corridor sitting in a comfortable temperature zone there, mid to upper 40s. We'll see highs today in the low 50s. Your off to school forecast, watch for passing downpours throughout the day today. It'll be a little breezy at the bus stop this morning. Again, dry breaks and showers this afternoon. Carly?
There's some police activity on SR 14 eastbound at Lisa Road, so that is not slowing down traffic, but do watch out for police. Take a look at some of the closures that are still in place. Historic Columbia River Highway closed between Larch Mountain Road and the Vista House, and then Old Cornelius Pass is closed, and that is between Rock Creek and Phillips. So some of those closures that we had yesterday have reopened. Now take a look at I-5 southbound and I-84 and the Sunset. Everything's up to speed and moving just fine on the freeways.
All right. Thank you very much, Carly. It is 1 minute after 5 o'clock right now. Let's go out to Clatskanie, which saw a lot of flooding, but today people there should be in the clear. Yesterday's high water blamed on a combination of rain and exceptionally high tide. The tide is not expected to be as high today, and the constant rain is over, so no more flooding is expected.
A number of water rescues planned out across the region as floodwaters rose yesterday. A father and his 3 children were pulled from their car after it hydroplaned on Highway 47 outside of Vernonia. And then a few hours later in Forest Grove, a man was rescued from the roof of his SUV on Fern Hill Road. By the time crews arrived to help him out, that vehicle was completely submerged.
Parts of Washington State also dealing with landslides this morning. Check out the damage done to a home in Maple Valley yesterday. A bunch of mud pushed the home's garage into the house itself. Now, people living nearby were told to leave their homes as a precaution. Fortunately, no one was inside the house when the slide smashed into it.
We're working to learn the identity of a person shot by Portland police last night. Officers were called out to an area near Powell City Park around 6:30 for a report of a suicidal man. They say the man was holed up in a car and had a gun with him. And while they were trying to communicate with him, that man got out of the car, forcing officers to open fire. He's now in critical condition. The officers involved were placed on leave, which is standard procedure. The investigation blocked streets in that area for several hours last night, but things are back to normal. Later today, we expect to learn the name of the person shot and killed by police after an armed robbery. The shooting happened yesterday near Northeast 82nd and Hancock. Police say a man sleeping in his car across from the Value Inn was robbed. Our Amy Frazier spoke with the victim.
Did he say anything to you?
Did he say anything? You're lucky you're not dead right now. I'm from Chicago. Usually he'll shoot you first, then we'll take your stuff. That's the first thing that came out of his mouth.
We're also working to learn the name of the officer who pulled the trigger.
An Oregon Department of Human Services employee is facing charges after investigators found inconsistencies in child abuse reports he completed. Miguel Fuentes was arrested yesterday in Washington County. Now, during a child abuse investigation, deputies found 15 cases where he had reported in-person contacts that never happened, false statements, and work that was allegedly done when he was not in the office. Fuentes had worked for DHS since 2011. He was placed on leave in November when the investigation began, charged with 15 counts of official misconduct and 15 counts of tampering with public records.
2 Portland developers filed a lawsuit to evict the Right to Dream 2 camp in Old Town. The companies are working to renovate the Grove Hotel in an effort to revitalize the area, and their lawsuit claims the camp violates city zoning laws. Developers say it's cost them more than $1 million in property depreciation and other costs. The city council voted to move R2D2 across the river last year, but a court ruling blocked that move.
The lawsuit against the city of Portland over new requirements for no-cause evictions is now in federal court. 2 landlords filed a suit in Multnomah County Circuit Court claiming the new policy violates an existing statewide ban against local rent control measures. The policy requires landlords to pay moving costs to tenants who are evicted or whose leases are not renewed without a formal statement. It also applies to tenants who choose to move if their rents are raised more than 10%. That policy passed by City Council last Thursday, and it went into effect immediately.
See you in court. That was President Trump's response after a federal appeals court refused to overturn a judge's order to block the president's travel ban. This case could now head to the Supreme Court. However, the president's travel ban, even with the injunction, is only effective for 90 days. Well, it could expire before the Supreme Court even hears the case. The president could also reissue the executive order with some fixes. With the ban still suspended, people from the 7 majority Muslim countries can continue entering the country. This morning, people in the Northeast are digging out from the biggest snowstorm of the season. 18 inches of snow came down in some areas. The storm is being blamed for at least 2 deaths and several crashes. The National Weather Service says much of the Northeast is waking up to bitter cold temperatures in the single digits. Many schools in Massachusetts, Maine, and Connecticut still closed today. Airline officials say they expect to operate with much of a normal schedule as possible today.
And let's take a look at our weather situation here. Sally Showman's in the Weather Center.
Let's talk about the rain so far this month. I know I've showed these tallies the last few days straight just because they are so impressive. We've had more than 7.5 inches of rain in the first week and a half of February in Salem. That's well above average for the entire month. McMinnville has had more than 6 inches, Astoria closing in on 7 inches, and PDX about 5.5 inches of rain so far this month. All of us running dramatically above average for the month of February. On and off downpours will continue throughout the day, but it's not the steady rain that can cause big problems on area rivers. Right now, the heaviest shower up toward Clark County, Vancouver through Battleground. It is absolutely pouring out there. We do still have some flood advisories to talk about. Coastal flood advisory, that's mainly due to the high tide that's coming at noontime today. So we'll be watching rivers as they run high along the coast. Along with that high tide, could see some problems. East of the Cascades with melting snow and a few showers, of flood advisory has been extended until 11 o'clock. That does include Burns and Baker City. And real quickly, I want to show you the list of rivers above flood stage this morning. So still in minor flood stage, the Luckiamute River, the Pudding River, Tualatin, Nehalem, Cowlitz, and Grays River. Today will be a day with on and off downpours throughout the day. We'll catch breaks between showers, high temperatures right around 50. Tomorrow we're finally drying out. Outside of a stray shower tomorrow morning, the weekend is going to be dry, Carly, and high temperatures look comfortable in the low 50s. Plus, we're getting snow in the mountains, so all kinds of good news.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that dry weather. Let's take a look at the drive right now at 5:07. It's not a bad commute. You can leave the house, get to where you're going just fine because everything is moving as it should be when we're not into rush hour. So you can see I-5 southbound is 8 minutes. It's a 9-minute drive for I-205 southbound. I've got 26 and 217 here, 5 minutes only on 26 eastbound, and then 7 minutes on 217 southbound, a 10-minute drive for 217 northbound.
All right, thanks, Carly. Well, as we said, there are still landslides covering a lot of the roads, and more slides could happen throughout the day.
Yeah, there's still several roads covered in water this morning, and Claire Anderson is out in Northwest Portland tracking some of these lingering issues. Claire, where are you at right now? What are you seeing?
Well, right now we are right off Highway 30. The road is actually closed behind me to get up to Northwest Germantown Road. So the road is blocked because of the landslides that happened. Again, Major landslide on Germantown Road. The hillsides have just completely fallen. They're so saturated. We also have a landslide at Newberry, which will be closed for months, maybe even longer, some officials are saying, which is going to be creating a very difficult decision, and possibly they might have to start over. There's going to be detours needing detours because of all these landslides as well. We've also had a lot of flooding issues, a handful of problems, the Rock Creek spilling over to the surrounding streets. There's also, again, a high water rescue that happened yesterday near Veronia. That was on Highway 47. So there's been a lot of things happening. Again, there was that other landslide near the Pittock Mansion that is closing things there, completely underwater some areas. So things have been quite messy due to these raining conditions. We've seen a few people trying to go around this barrier here now, even though the road is closed. So we can't get to it right now. Again, road closures to get up to Northwest Germantown. There's been a lot of problems. We're probably still going to see some issues, even though we're hoping and we're saying that the worst is over. There's still a lot of water out here. The rain will continue, so we're going to keep a very close eye on it. Reporting live from Northwest Portland, Claire Anderson, KOIN 6 News.
Well, at least the water is receding in most places, so there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Thanks, Claire.
At least hopefully. Well, tributes continue to pour in for one of the most famous elephants in the world.
Packy was pretty much the star at the Oregon Zoo, but Packy died yesterday. He was the first elephant born in captivity in almost 50 years at the time. The 54-year-old had tuberculosis, a contagious respiratory disease, and the trainers had to euthanize Packy. Veterinarians stopped treatment 5 months ago after they say medication just wasn't working anymore.
They don't really show symptoms very distinctly. There's nothing specific. They don't cough. They don't really show labor breathing until it's the extreme end, and that was unacceptable to us to even get to that point.
Packy was the oldest known Asian elephant in North America. Huge crowds would gather every April for his birthday party. The zoo will hold a memorial in the next couple of weeks. Packy will definitely be missed. Quite an attraction up at the Oregon Zoo. Time now is 10 minutes after 5 o'clock. You're watching KOIN 6 News, watching out for you.
A vehicle slams into a house, causing some major damage. We'll tell you where this happened.
And an inmate is in even more trouble with the law this morning. What he did to a deputy that now has him facing more charges.
And don't forget, if you have a story you'd like us to investigate, just download the KOIN.com app to send us your news tips.
Check out this amazing video from a news photographer in California. He shot this video from inside a live truck as he was headed to work, and he got swept up in a landslide. This happened last month, but the video was just released. He managed to walk away from this despite his live truck just being mangled. Well, just yesterday, about a month after that slide, another slide hit in the very same spot.
Well, check out this surveillance video out of Pelham, New Hampshire. It shows an SUV go off the road and then slam right into a home. This happened yesterday during the height of that snowstorm that just covered the Northeast. The force of this crash knocked the home off of its foundation. That's a big house. The driver has 2 broken legs. No one inside the home was hurt, but police say no matter what you drive, it is important to drive slowly in bad weather.
Yeah, that guy was definitely driving a little too fast. It was not all bad news that came out of yesterday's blizzard in New England and New York. Some people managed to have some fun in the snow, like this guy dressed as a Yeti in Boston. He roamed the streets. He even stopped for selfies with people. Also, dozens of people turned out for a massive snowball fight on the Boston Commons. So
cool.
You turn lemons into lemonade in a situation like that.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for those of us, you know, have been flooding issues, landslide issues, mudslide issues. Things will be improving dramatically over the weekend, but today we still have scattered showers outside. In fact, we've had a somewhat heavy cell move on through the heart of the metro area. Right now, roads are wet in downtown Portland as we look live outside. Temperatures mild, 46 degrees at the airport. We'll notice a southwesterly wind picking up this morning here in the Willamette Valley and especially out along the coast. So you can see scattered downpours out there. The heaviest cell right over Hawkinson and Mill Plain out toward Brush Prairie. Brush Prairie, it's about to move through. Eventually, Camas, you'll get in on this action in the western end of the gorge too. Oak Hills, the West Hills, mainly dry right now. You head out toward North Plains, are getting clipped by a light shower. And then moderate rain as you head through Oregon City, Canby, Brooks, and Salem. Out over the Coast Range, more showers poised to move on into the Willamette Valley. The rain is heavy at times on Highway 26, and we do have a few scattered showers in far eastern Oregon and flood advisories in effect there until 11 o'clock this morning because of these showers, but also because of melting snow. So here's a look at your forecast for the Willamette Valley today. Temperatures climb into the low 50s this afternoon. It'll be another day with on and off downpours. So 1 minute it's dry, maybe the sun briefly comes out, and then the sky turns dark and a downpour moves through. So just plan on that. No, there'll be some dry time and some really wet time in the mix today. The showers should decrease in intensity as we get closer to sunset tonight. So here are those showers at 8:30 in the morning, wet at times throughout the morning commute. Snow levels have dropped to 3,000 feet in the Cascades. Scattered rain and snow showers east of the mountains this afternoon and less shower activity overnight, but there'll still be a few showers around. By early tomorrow morning, just spotty shower activity. This is 8 o'clock in the morning. Notice east of the Cascades, we catch a lot of sunshine tomorrow. It looks like a really nice day for central and eastern Oregon. Saturday night, you can see partly cloudy skies, and then things clear out overnight. Areas of fog early on Sunday, and then partly cloudy skies in the afternoon as high clouds filter the sunlight. So a really nice weekend ahead. Today out along the coast, wind this morning and scattered downpours throughout the day. That flood advisory, 11 this morning until 2 this afternoon. I-5 corridor, on and off showers, maybe some isolated hail in the mix with the most intense downpours. Scattered rain and snow showers east of the Cascades, breezy at times, especially this morning. Through the gorge, just rain showers that'll be heavy at times. High temperatures in the 40s there, 2 to 5 inches of snow above 3,000 feet in the Cascades. Tomorrow, a few morning showers, then drying out all the way through Tuesday with comfortable temperatures. Rain returns on Wednesday.
So I've got several traffic alerts for you. We're going to get to the first one here, which is a closure of Highway 101 just north of Highway 6. This is in Tillamook, and the main detour is Wilson River right here. So Wilson River Loop, and that's the closure of Highway 101 because of high water. So we're still seeing some of that along the coast. Now, a landslide here has historic Columbia River Highway closed between Larch Mountain Road and La Tourelle Road. And take a look at the closure over on Old Cornelius Pass. It's still in place between Phillips and Rock Creek. You can use Cornelius Pass as the detour. 26 eastbound, only 5 minutes, and a quick drive in from Wilsonville, 17 minutes.
What's up? You. Yeah.
Whew. Well, that headbutt has an inmate in New Albany, Mississippi in even more trouble this morning. It happened yesterday as he was being taken to court. Well, he was quickly detained after the incident. He was originally locked up for allegedly robbing a mini-mart earlier this week. A Chicago mother is outraged after her son showed her this video. Check it out. It shows her son being choked out in class earlier this week. But if you look in the background, a substitute teacher is sitting at a desk, and according to the mom, she did nothing to stop the attack. The school is now investigating this incident.
Right now, a mass whale rescue is underway in New Zealand. Up to 300 whales have died, but more than 100 still have a chance after hundreds of them were found beached yesterday. This is the third largest recorded whale stranding in New Zealand since data started being collected in the 1800s. One person is still missing after a large fire at a Louisiana pipeline injured 2 workers. Officials there say workers were cleaning a Phillips 66 pipeline in St. Charles Parish when the explosion happened. Authorities believe a valve or a gasket failed. 2 workers were rushed to the hospital with serious burns. Nearby residents were evacuated and 2 highways were closed in both directions as crews worked that fire.
Ooh, serious business. Well, the time is 5:20. You're watching KOIN 6 News, watching out for you.
One automaker is recalling thousands of older cars. We'll tell you which vehicles need a fix after the break.
Welcome back. Arby's says a data breach may have affected more than 355,000 credit and debit cards. This is the same kind of malware attack behind earlier breaches at Target and Home Depot. This breach happened between October 25th and January 19th. The malware allows hackers to steal data as the card is swiped at the cash register. Arby's says the malware has now been eradicated. We're working to learn if any restaurants in Oregon or Washington are impacted. General Motors is recalling more than 100,000 of its older sports cars worldwide.
Yeah, this recall affects the 2006 to 2010 Pontiac Solstice and the Saturn Sky from the years 2007 to 2010. The automaker says the vehicles have a faulty sensor that could disable the front passenger airbag. Chipotle is hoping to get more kids into books by expanding its Reading Rewards program. The Mexican restaurant chain offering free Chipotle kids meals to kids who read up to 20 minutes a day. The reading logs will be tracked on Chipotle's website. Time now is 5:24. You're watching KOIN 6 News, watching out for you.
New overnight, a deadly landslide overseas. We'll tell you where this happened.
And a freak accident on a bridge. What happened that actually cost a man his life?
6 News This Morning starts right now.
We are coming up on 5:30 and taking a live look at Highway 30 at Germantown Road. The route to Germantown Road, it's closed right now, as you can see, because of a landslide in the area. We are seeing issues like this all over the area this morning. We'll have more in a live report in about a minute. I'm Ken Body.
And I'm Trevor Alden for Jenny Hansen. I was there yesterday. There's a dozen waterfalls all along Highway 30 because there's so much water, and that's why we need to look at weather and traffic this morning. Sally, it's getting better, right?
It is getting better. You know, all of our rivers, creeks, and streams really respond quickly to that steady, heavy rain. And that let up after yesterday morning. Now we're in scattered showers mode. So the breaks between showers makes a big difference and helps the rivers to start the process of receding. Right now, we still have scattered showers out there, but you'll notice there are breaks between them. Let me zoom in a little bit tighter, the metro area, right draping over the West Hills through King City, Sherwood, Newburgh. We do have a little cell there. Also, another little intense cell between Oregon City and Canby. Further down to the south around Kaiser, scattered showers. In the mountains, snow has returned. So yesterday, it was way too warm in the mountains for snow. We saw a lot of rain up there, but overnight snow levels have dropped to about 3,000 feet. So ski resorts getting some fresh snow early this morning and throughout the day. East of the mountains, just scattered light shower activity, but we still have a flood advisory in effect there, mainly because of melting snowpack. Up and down the I-5 corridor, scattered showers, temperatures in the mid-40s. 48 right now in Tillamook. It is 32 in the Dalles with dry conditions. Scattered rain showers in Hood River with that thaw continuing early this morning. Here's a look at your forecast for today. Passing downpours from time to time, so plan on bringing the rain gear once again. You won't need it, though, this weekend. I've got your weekend forecast just minutes away.
So as you saw earlier, Germantown closed there at Highway 30. We've got some other closures in place, like 101 here north of Highway 6. This is in Tillamook, and the main detour is Wilson River Loop here to get around that closure, and that's due to high water. Now, a landslide still has historic Columbia River Highway closed between Larch Mountain Road and La Tourelle Road. And take a look at this closure on Old Cornelius Pass. It remains in place between Rock Creek and Phillips. Now let's go to those drive times, which are still in great shape. 7 minutes on I-5 southbound, 6 minutes for I-84, 5 minutes on the Sunset eastbound, and from Highway 217.
Thanks, Carly. 5:31. And as we've been mentioning, there's still landslides covering the roads this morning. The problem is that more slides could happen throughout the day. We might not be done yet.
That's right. And, you know, there's also still some roads covered in water this morning. Claire Anderson's out in northwest Portland. She's tracking some of these lingering issues. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning. You know, it's dry right now. It's starting to sprinkle again, and that's the issue, is that the showers are not done and the ground is so saturated. The hillside, even right here, we're right at the bottom where you're heading up to northwest Germantown Road. We have some trees that have fallen here. There was a crew here earlier, a forklift that was going to clear that. They had to go do something else, but the road is closed off of Highway 30 up to northwest Germantown Road, and that is going to be closed all day, I'm expecting, because we still have a lot of water out there. Landslides have been leaving Multnomah County on the brink of emergency. We've seen some very big landslides, which are going to be very expensive. Also, Newberry Road, there was a large chunk of earth with trees and mud that went tumbling down the canyon, taking the road out with it. They're saying the road just disappeared. It's going to be closed for months due to that, maybe even longer, which is going to create a very big problem for the county and potentially having to start over with that road. Also, again, we've seen lots of flooding going on. We've seen that also Rock Creek was spilling over into the surrounding streets. The high water rescue also played out yesterday near Veronia, where the driver, a hydroplane on Highway 47. So a lot of issues with the standing water. There's a similar scene near Fern Hill Road in Forest Grove, where there was a driver behind the wheel that completely went underwater. So even though if you do see that standing water, be very careful. It's never a good idea to drive into standing water. You never know how deep it is. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll make it. My car's big enough. You know, you never know. And it only takes a few minutes to maybe go around, which could save you a lot of money, a lot of time. And the major issue is your safety. So be careful out there. We're still watching issues continuing through today with the very saturated ground and the rain showers continuing. But we are live here in Northwest Portland reporting. Claire Anderson for KOIN 6 News.
Yeah, talking yesterday with Dylan Rivera of PBOT, the way he put it is when you have saturated ground up on those hills fighting gravity, gravity always wins, and we've definitely been seeing that over the last few days. Thanks, Claire.
New overnight, we're not the only place having landslides, and this is a place where it was even more severe. A dozen people dead after huge landslides in Indonesia. Now, heavy rain there caused the slides, which slammed into 3 villages. This landslide happened late at night when most of the villagers were at home. We are following developing news out of France this morning. Anti-terrorism forces arrested 4 people when they raided a makeshift explosives lab in southern France. Authorities seized the explosive TATP, which was used in the November 2015 attack in Paris, as well as the March 2016 attack in Brussels. They say one of the people they arrested was believed to be planning a suicide attack. Stay with KOIN 6 as this story unfolds. We'll bring you the updates here on the air and online at KOIN.com.
See you in court. That was President Trump's response after a federal appeals court refused to overturn a judge's order blocking the president's travel ban. This case could now head to the Supreme Court, but the president's travel ban, even with the injunction, is only effective for 90 days, so it could expire before the Supreme Court even hears the case. The president could also reissue the executive order with some fixes to it. With the ban still suspended, the people from the 7 countries that were banned can continue entering the country. Late last night, Representative Tom Price was confirmed as the head of the Health and Human Services Department. Senate lawmakers held a vote overnight after Democratic efforts to delay the president's cabinet nominees. Many are opposed to the Georgia congressman because of his plans to undo Obamacare and give Medicare an overhaul.
In Los Angeles last night, dozens marched and blocked streets outside an immigration detention center as they protested the arrest of dozens of undocumented immigrants. They were led by an immigration rights group. That group seeing a surge of calls from lawyers reporting arrests and detentions of undocumented clients. Many of the protesters say extra immigration sweeps are the result of President Donald Trump's policies, but a spokesperson from the Department of Immigration and Customs Enforcement denies any spike in arrests. At least 1 person is dead after high winds caused widespread problems across the mid-Atlantic. In Virginia Beach, a tractor trailer was swept off Chesapeake Bay Bridge in a heavy gust. The Navy staged a helicopter rescue to try to save that driver, but by the time they got to him, it was too late. Winds in the area clocked at more than 40 miles an hour.
Winter weather has finally caught up to those living in the Northeast. They are digging out from a snowstorm, the first major snowfall of the season for this region. At least 1 person was killed. A New York City doorman died after slipping down some stairs and through a glass window. Meanwhile, parts of Massachusetts are dealing with power outages after winds of up to 70 miles an hour. Many schools in Massachusetts, Maine, and Connecticut are still closed today. An SUV is caught on camera crashing into an Ohio school bus, knocking it on its side. Look at this. It sent students flying. These kids in Dayton, Ohio, range in age from 6 to 14. The SUV driver was 16 and had stopped at a stop sign, but then drove into the intersection instead of yielding the right of way to the bus. 1 child on the bus, along with its driver, are hurt, and so are 2 high schoolers who were in the SUV.
Oregon lawmakers are introducing a bill that would tax the coffee you drink. The 5-cent tax would be added onto coffee beans and ground coffee. The money would go towards an alternative education sustainability fund. The bill had its first reading yesterday in the House. We'll keep following its progress and keep you updated.
They could generate millions just for the people working on this show. All right, let's get a check on your roads now. Send it over to Carly Connelly. Hey, Carly.
Hey, this is the latest right now for drive times, and they aren't too bad. I-5 southbound, only 8 minutes, and that's from SR 500 to the Fremont Bridge. I haven't seen any major slowdowns yet for that drive. 9 minutes across the Glenn Jackson Bridge down to I-84. 12 minutes on I-205 southbound near the Abernathy Bridge. 8 minutes on 217 southbound. 17 on I-5 northbound in from Wilson. When we have something major that will impact your commute, I will send out a text alert and a push alert. Sign up for either one. Text alerts through our website, push alerts through our KOIN 6 News app. That way you get the information straight to your phone. Sally?
Carly, 120 days until summer. That's a long time. But something to look forward to. Today, we're still in the scattered downpours mode. So here's a look at your Pet Walk forecast. Passing downpours this morning. The rain will be heavy at times, but we catch breaks between the showers. On and off showers this evening, but they won't be as intense after sunset. Temperatures in the low 50s this afternoon. Meet Bear Bear. Bear Bear is a baby Frenchie, lives in Corvallis. So cute. Look at those eyes. Here's Willis. Willis was waiting for his rainy evening walk yesterday. Pam sent that picture in. Looks like Pam's got a great pair of shoes to do that wet walking. Here's Macaroni, rescued by Oregon Dachshund Rescue. What a cutie. I just love the wiry hair there. And speaking of rescues, this is Patrick. Do you remember Patrick from our Second Chance segment this week? He was on Wednesday, and yesterday someone showed up to be his forever family at Bonnie Hayes Animal Shelter. So we're so happy that we were able to help Patrick find his forever home. Send me your pictures. Looks like he's jumping for joy there. Coin.com/petwalk. That's coin.com/petwalk. Don't forget your name and your animal's name. I'd love to show your pictures at 6:40 this morning.
Good news about Patrick. Not surprisingly, he was jumping for joy because he was pretty active when he was here in the studio. He was going to jump no matter what. Well, professional soccer returned to Providence Park last night as the Portland Timbers hosted Real Salt Lake in their annual preseason tournament. It was a real back-and-forth contest with 3 goals in the first half. Now, let's take a look at this moment. This is the moment the Timbers Army will be talking about for the next few days. Diego Chara was shown a red card after he threw an elbow. The Timbers preseason game at home ends in a 3-3 draw. We are a little more than a month away from March Madness here on CBS, and the play on the college court is heating up.
Last night in L.A., number 5 Oregon faced off against number 10 UCLA, and the Ducks really came out strong, even though they arrived at the arena just 45 minutes before the tip. Take a look at this dunk. At one point in the first, U of O was up by 19 points, but the Bruins would come back fighting in the second, and UCLA wins a tough one, 82-79.
Yeah, disappointment for the Ducks.
That would have been a big win for sure. Well, the Oregon State Beavers were also in Los Angeles last night, matching up with the Trojans of USC. Neither of these teams are ranked right now, but still, really good game until about the second half. That's when the Trojans started to run away with it. Southern Cal wins it 92-66.
Time now is 19 minutes before 6 o'clock. You're watching KOIN 6 News, watching out for you.
A Valentine's Day dance canceled. The reason why sounds like the plot of a movie from the 80s. We're going to explain right after the break. 5:44. Henriette, Oklahoma has canceled a Valentine's Day dance, and get this, it might sound like the plot of Footloose, but they're canceling it because the dance was set to happen too close to a church. The city has an old ordinance on the books that prevents dancing within 500 feet of a church, and the venue for the dance was only 300 feet away. The mayor of the city says this rule has never been enforced, but one resident raised a stink, and since the venue is owned by the wife of the city's lawyer, she decided to shut it down to avoid a conflict of interest. Where is Kevin Bacon when you need him?
Yeah, I'm telling you, that rule needs to be changed. We were talking, I grew up in a Baptist church, and we danced in church, you know.
Which is how it should be. I would love to meet the one resident that made phone calls to
Who's
the
now
city.
making national news
That's right.
because
I bet
she doesn't
that
want
resident
dancing.
is a real riot. Don't assume it's a she, Sally.
Yeah, I guess that's
Some
true.
men
That's
also
true.
hate dancing.
Yes.
Oh, it is
The
a she.
producer is confirmed.
I was right.
I
Yes,
apologize.
I was right. Oh, that's interesting. Well, we'll follow that, see if that changes. I want to take you up to Mount Hood now, show you what's going on. Yesterday, a lot of rain, even in the mountains. Temperatures were in the 40s up at Meadows yesterday with puddles. But we've switched back over to scattered snow showers as snow levels have come down behind that cold front yesterday. No new snow to report on at Timberline, Mount Hood Meadows, Ski Bowl, or Bachelor. Bases are looking healthy, and I think we could pick up 2 to 5 inches, maybe even 6 inches of snow today because things remain unsettled and we're in scattered showers mode. You can see snow coming down over the Cascades this morning above 3,000 feet. Here in the Willamette Valley, some heavy showers around. We have moderate rain extending from Oregon City through Barlow, Molalla, the east side of Woodburn, Silverton, and there are more showers moving over the Coast Range. So unsettled weather today. The storm track is to the south of us, so that leaves the door open for scattered shower activity. Snow levels, though, dropping today. This weekend, the big change, high pressure builds on in. That provides dry conditions Saturday and Sunday, and also partly cloudy skies. So a really nice weekend ahead. Here's a look at your forecast. If you're headed to the coast this weekend, not a bad weekend to do so. After a wild weekend at the coast, things settle down. A brief morning shower not out of the question on Saturday, but then I think we see increasing sun breaks. High temperatures in the low 50s with partly to mostly cloudy skies on Sunday. We'll see high clouds filtering the sunlight and potentially some low clouds at the coast too. Spotty morning showers a possibility, especially in the northern Willamette Valley tomorrow. But if we see any at all, it'll be pretty brief. And then I think we see sun breaks in the afternoon. Partly cloudy on Sunday. High temperatures in the low 50s, which is right on the money for average this time of year. How about for those of you in the gorge that have had such an intense winter? Well, we're talking about highs in the 40s. So no threat of freezing rain or snow. In fact, conditions should be mainly dry this weekend. A brief morning shower possible in the gorge on Saturday with sun breaks in the afternoon. Sunday, partly cloudy, high temperatures in the low 40s. How about the mountains? After some fresh snow today, maybe a few morning flurries on Saturday, and then increasing sun in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-30s Saturday, upper 30s at Government Camp on Sunday with partly cloudy conditions. So a nice weekend ahead up there, and get some skiing in and vitamin D while you're at it. Central Oregon, sun and occasional high clouds on Saturday. Looks like a beautiful weekend to be in Bend. That's exactly where I will be this weekend. Temperatures in the mid-40s on Sunday with mostly sunny skies. So here's a look now at your 7-day forecast. When does that rain return after today? It looks like next Wednesday. Rain develops and scattered showers continue into Thursday. But the good news is our dry stretch lasts from Saturday through next Tuesday, which is Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day, not a bad day to get outside and enjoy, you know, maybe a hike or a walk or a run. And again, Carly, today on and off downpour. So maybe some issues on the roadways. I know a lot of roads pretty wet still.
Right. And at 5:48, we don't have any accidents right now, just dealing with our traffic alerts that we've had in place for a little while. So Highway 101 remains closed due to high water. This is in Tillamook, just north of Highway 6. Use Wilson River Loop as the alternate route. And then we have this closure due to a landslide on historic Columbia River Highway. It's closed between Larch Mountain Road and La Tourelle Road, and a landslide still has Old Cornelius Pass Road closed between Rock Creek and Phillips. And remember, there's high water on Germantown near Highway 30, so avoid that area. Take a look look now at the drive time on I-5 southbound. So we're into rush hour. We're seeing a delay, and it's 5:49, and traffic's already backing up to SR 500. So 11 minutes right now from SR 500 to the Fremont Bridge. I-205 looks good in comparison, only 9 minutes there as you make your way across the Glenn Jackson Bridge, 12 minutes through Oregon City and West Linn.
Thanks, Carly. 11 minutes before 6 o'clock right now in Hollywood, heading back to Haddonfield, New Jersey. There is another reboot of Halloween in the works. The original director of the franchise, John Carpenter, announced the reboot yesterday on Facebook. He says the creators of Eastbound and Down, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, will bring the movie to the big screen. Carpenter will be the executive producer and may score some of the movie. The Halloween reboot is due out in October of next year.
Master Bruce, your greatest fear is...
Snakes?
No.
Clowns?
No. It's being a part of a family again.
No, now it's snake clowns because you put that idea in my head.
Sir,
The newest Batman movie hits the theaters today, the Lego Batman movie, that is. The movie's a spin-off of the wildly popular Lego movie from 2014. Will Arnett stars as the voice of the brooding Caped Crusader. Michael Cera is playing Robin. It's the first Robin to appear on the big screen since 1997's Batman and Robin.
Aretha Franklin says she is going into retirement this year. Sort of. The Queen of Soul said this during an interview yesterday, but she went on to say she's putting out a new album of original music this year produced by Stevie Wonder. She is going to cut back on performances, though. But the 74-year-old says she will be open to some select appearances. Last-minute preparations underway right now for this Sunday's Grammy Awards. And yesterday, host James Corden helped roll out the red carpet. This will be the first time the Late Late Show host has taken part in the Grammys, although he previously hosted the Tony Awards. The Grammy Awards are performance heavy. Corden says he will use his limited time on stage to make the show fun. You will only see the Grammys right here on KOIN 6 this Sunday, and you can also catch the James Corden Late Late Show after The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, again, right here on KOIN 6. And a couple of the Grammy nominees will be performing starting next week at the PDX Jazz Festival. They are John Scofield, who's won Grammys before, and John Beasley and Monkestra. So by the time that those performances hit Portland, they may be Grammy Award-winning artists for this year.
That's right, got to show up.
Dr. Phil's show saw a spike in popularity this fall after a controversial appearance by a 13-year-old girl named Danielle.
Her bad attitude had people all over America talking.
That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
Because you're too streetwise?
Yup. And all these hoes laughing like something funny.
She's talking about the audience, that they're laughing at her.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yep. Catch me outside, how about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside, how about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
Well, this is the clip that went viral, and you heard it. The 13-year-old invited an entire audience outside to settle their differences. Well, today, Danielle and her mom are back on the set of Dr. Phil to update America on her progress. This time, though, there is no audience. Dr. Phil airs right here on KOIN 6 today at 3.
I mean, she is so street that some of what she says has to be translated, almost, you know. Time now is 5:53. You're watching KOIN 6 News, watching out for you.
Well, there's something new to help man's best friend. We'll tell you about this new treatment and what it can do for your dog.